Are you like me and sometimes feel like you're caught up in the thick of things, right? You go to work, come home, kind of catch up on looking at cryptocurrencies all day, every day, and then you still feel like you just can't get ahead, right? You feel like you're always catching the end trail in the wind, and you just don't know what projects to invest in. You hear about every single YouTuber or your friends and family saying, hey, invest in this, look at this. But when you do, you're either too late or you just don't have that feeling inside like it's the right cryptocurrency. Well, I totally get it. Now, this is where I used to be until I started doing this thing full time now. And so today, I'm going to actually show you how I plan to escape the matrix, and ultimately I'm going to give you all the possible answers I can in terms of what has gone into my portfolio. Now, yes, this is my portfolio. This is how I am escaping the matrix, but ultimately, this is me showing you where I'm putting my money, okay? So at the end of the day, if you've ever had any questions and gone, I wonder what Kyron's portfolio is like, I wonder what he thinks, well then this video is the answer to that question ultimately, because I'm just pretty much pulling back the curtains here, guys. So yes, by all means, do what you want. Copy the portfolio, don't copy the portfolio. I would advise you not to. So either way, I hope you enjoy this video and let's just jump straight into it. So as you probably can tell, this is for the most part my complete portfolio, at least right down to about the $500 mark. Now, I've done a really nice thing here. I wanted to graph it rather than just showing you basically or what coins I'm investing in, right? Just like everyone else does. I want to give you exact amounts, how much I've actually invested in on the average, just to show you guys, yes, I'm also underwater on some of these projects quite significantly as well. As I said, I've been dollar cost averaging into some of these for a long time now. And ultimately, which ones I'm either dollar cost averaging into or have stopped recently, okay? So I want to just take your attention very briefly to the chart here, right? Now, as you can see here, I've got red, right, which is the indicator of selling 100% and not buying ever again. Now, none of the projects on today's list specifically are this, but what I want to do is, as I continue to dollar cost average and buy more of these cryptocurrencies, as these pretty much charts move, I want to update you on a monthly basis, just so you're aware and I can begin to make this more transparent for everyone, okay? Now, I want to make something clear. The values I'm going to show you today represent the quantity of tokens I have in each project right now. So obviously, I might have invested more into project A over the course of time, but if I've obviously found a better price at project B, for example, you know, I might invest less, but I might have more profit. So it's ranked higher on this list, okay? Now, this portfolio has taken a little over 2 years to accumulate, right? And this doesn't include smaller positions in altcoins that I have scattered across multiple wallets. You guys know what I'm talking about. If you've been in the industry for a while now, you'll have coins scattered across every which account in such small fractions, okay? Now, which I no longer wish to buy. That's why they're not on this list, okay? This is like a list that if you were to say to me, Kyron, what project should I get? Obviously, in the most non-financial way possible, I would just give you my portfolio because that's what I'm buying, right? And I obviously want to put my money where my mouth is. I always try to bulk in whole numbers, to buy bulk in numbers rather, like stocks, okay? So I don't want to buy fractions of coins because I like even values, because this helps me with, okay, I have X amount of H-bar or quant or whatever it might be, and it also helps finding price a lot easier in the future. Of course, if you have 10,000 tokens, the price goes up 10x. You can kind of get a good idea of, you know, whatever the value is at that point, all right? So this is it. Again, most of you guys are going to know what my two number one holdings are, H-bar and QNT, but how much, okay? How much? Well, right now, my H-bar holding is just under 200,000 tokens. It's currently valued at about $9,200. Yes, I'm not a multi-millionaire right now. I definitely plan to be like the most of us, right? But of course, you know, I've had to work a regular job for the longest time now before I could even do this full time. So I averaged in at about 5.7 cents, and I put about $10,800 in over the course of time, right? So I'm actually losing a little bit of money right now, okay? Next up, we have Quant, okay? So QNT. And as we can see, it is my number 2 holding, right? I've bought about 81 tokens. It's about $8,800, right? And I've actually made a little bit of money on this. I bought it at an average of $101. Now, I want to make something clear. As you can see here, right? As I mentioned, I like to buy nice whole amounts. For H-bar, normally 10,000 tokens, right? It's not that much money, a couple $100 if that. Then we have QNT, because one token is about 100-ish dollars, it's around about 200 Australian dollars. I like to buy one at a time, so I just keep buying one when I can. Number 3 holdings, actually Stellar XLM, okay? So Stellar I've averaged in at about $0.081, right? Putting about $7,000 in there. Remember, I've rounded these numbers. They're obviously fractions and multiples. I've just kept it nice and easy for the video, okay? It's about 87,000 tokens I currently have, and it's valued about $7,500. So yes, I've made a little bit of money so far in XLM. And that's because I've been dollar cost averaging into this project for quite a while now, so I've had more flexibility. I've actually haven't been dollar cost averaging into quant for the longest time. I pretty much started when I started making my videos on the project because I heard so much about it, but I didn't really know the levels of detail that I should. And you'll notice that the projects on this list are ones that I know quite a bit about. And that's because I don't invest in anything I don't understand. You know, I'm not one of them people that goes out there and listens to 100 different YouTubers and say, well, X amount of them, the majority say it's a good project. I used to do that, and that's how we come to all those projects scattered across the different wallets, right? Those are the ones that I've sold over time or just couldn't care about anymore. And ultimately, my perception of those projects in terms of the quality of them has always referred to price. And when you do that, when you refer to a quality of a project with price, it's never a good thing. You never have conviction, right? And I have conviction in these projects. Next is number 4, we have Near Protocol, okay? So I bought in at about $2.20 each. I've put over time about $7,300 in. So yes, that's quite a bit of money, but I'm quite down right now. Okay, I have about 3,300 tokens, but it's valued at about $4,600. So you guys can start to see, you know, I actually am underwater with a lot of these projects, okay? So ultimately, you know, I'm not saying I'm a professional. I don't time the bottom, basically. A lot of these projects I'm dollar cost averaging. As you can see, remember, the ones in blue, I'm still dollar cost averaging in. And as we're going to see with DOT, Algorand, and Mina, the ones in the green, I currently am not dollar cost averaging in them, at least right now. It's not forever. I believe in these projects, quite obviously. But right now, I want to wait for a few important events to unfold. And you'll notice that I typically like to buy nice, even numbers with these, or at least I like to finish on nice, even numbers. For those who know me, I have OCD big time, okay? So, all right, so let's talk about DOT, right? So DOT I have about, same with Near, right? $4,600, about 920 tokens, which I must admit, that actually is quite a bit. Like, you know, in a bull market situation, for my predictions, that's going to be quite a bit of money, all right? $6.60 average. I've been buying Polkadot for a while now. I bought a bit at the top, which is a bit stupid, way back in 2021. I also bought a bit before that as well, at about $5 or so. So I've got, you know, bounced around a fair bit, but I've definitely been brought up. I bought a little bit too much on the top. Definitely learned a big lesson there, okay? So that's number 4. Technically, it's just under Near if we weren't to use round numbers, all right? Number 5, we have, is it 5 we're up to? I think so. We have Algorand, right? $4,400. I put a fair bit of money into Algorand, $6,500. So I'm pretty far underwater right now with Algo. And that's obviously simply to do with the two mentions of it possibly being a security by the SEC. Now, the reason I've put off buying more Algorand at this stage is simply because of that reason. I don't want to say to you guys or myself, buy more Algorand tokens when in reality, depending on what's going to happen in a few days with these Hinman documents, you know, Algorand might be considered a security. It might not be considered a security. I'm quite happy with my position and exposure to Algorand, and I don't want to throw more money into a project that I just don't know on its future. I love everything else, but the SEC thinks otherwise, okay? Next up, Mina Protocol. So this is one I've actually got into the ICO round of. So I had about, it was about 2,000 tokens of, at about, I think it was about, what half is now, so about 25 cents. So I got in pretty cheap, and I got, so what's that, about a third of my tokens were in quite good. So I've averaged in quite low, because I definitely bought a lot higher than 50 cents. So it's kind of like evened out a little bit over time. So I'm thankful I got in at that point, and that's why I'm still above ground. Otherwise, I just wouldn't be if I didn't get into the ICO, okay? Now, Casper Network, okay, so I averaged about 0.031 cents in this, put about $2,900 in, and I'm slightly up right now, okay? So it's had a bit of a recent pump. So, you know, that's kind of why. Now, one thing I want to say on that topic is that a lot of these projects, yes, I might be down, but that's because I've been investing, you know, towards the start/middle of this bear market, right? I am going to be buying the ones in blue a little bit more because I definitely feel like they can grow. Now, the reason I've put DOT in green, and also Mina, for those of you who are wondering, is I want DOT to show its strength a little bit more right now. I believe in the long term of the project, but I'd rather put the money I can actually afford to put into the market into some of these other projects I just believe in a little bit more. Now, I love DOT, and a lot of you guys are going to be shocked, like, no, he's the chosen one, he's the DOT guy. I'm an investor first. I'm never like one of them people that are going to be like solely hell-bent on a project. I had one guy in my comment section talking about Algorand the other day, and he said, look, you've made so many Algorand videos, why have you turned your back all of a sudden and say you're not going to buy anymore? The reason being is because I'm an investor. If there's bad news, if any one of these projects had been name dropped as many times as Algorand as a security, it'd be the same situation. I don't care. I'm not hell-bent on projects. I'm going to talk about what I like and what I know about, but by all means, I'm not going to fight you in the comments about why DOT is the best project in the world. It's just, I think that's a very bad human trait, okay? I'm an investor first. Okay, so next up, let's talk about eGold or Multiverse X. Now, I will continue to buy Multiverse X. I typically buy this sort of like quant. I buy one or two at a time. And the reason why I'm buying more is because I really do believe in the project. I'm coming out with a review on these guys again very, very shortly. I just think they're a fantastic protocol. That's kind of like NEAR, right? They are general purpose blockchains, but I think these guys have an advantage because they've niched into the multiverse. And as long as the multiverse comes to fruition, and I guess one benefit is the Google glasses or whatever they're called that recently come out, the augmented reality glasses, then yeah, I'm super bullish on this and we'll see how it goes in the future, okay? So I'm definitely taking my bets on the multiverse theme in that case. Next up, Glimmer. So, a fair bit down the list. I must admit I bought most of these tokens some time ago. I haven't really bought too much Moonbeam recently. And the reason why it's green and the reason why I'm holding off right now is because we're at all-time lows. And as we all should know, it's good to buy at this time, of course, but I'm a firm believer the market's going to go a bit lower. And so obviously I don't want to be buying too much Glimmer right now when I just want to see what happens with it and possibly even buy at dirt cheap prices, okay? And next we have Flux. So I like Flux. I want to be exposed to the decentralized cloud computing because I think it has a lot of room to grow, and I'm definitely a big fan of Flux. I would also be a big fan of Render. I haven't really bought Render. The reason why is that I think Flux does more, but also Render's a bit too expensive for me right now. I definitely missed that boat, but I averaged in about Flux at about 60 cents, bought about $2,200 over the period of time, 3,600 tokens, and currently I am a bit underwater there as well. Now, Atom, I was dollar cost averaging into Atom now for the last couple of months, every week pretty much at that point, but the reason I stopped is simply because I don't have as much money as I once used to working a full-time job, right? I'm doing crypto full-time, I'm doing this full-time, and right now, I don't have a lot of money to throw around. So I want to be very careful and strategic with the positions I put myself in. But again, the reason it's on this list, matter of fact, remember, it's not red. The reason why it's not red is because I still believe in the project. I'm just holding off on the more frequent dollar cost average now. I'm being more sporadic, if you will, okay? Next up, Link. I've been only buying Link somewhat recently, okay, because I've always known how good it is, but I never knew how really good it was, right? And so recently, I've started buying more and more of this project. It wouldn't surprise me if Link goes up here sometime soon. And then we have ICP, again, one I've only started recently buying as well. Matter of fact, I've only recently started buying the last four as of the last about month or so, okay? So yeah, ICP, again, I'm looking into these guys quite deeply. I'm doing a lot of research in the back end because I just really enjoy reading about these guys and they have so much going on. Unfortunately, their economics is a little bit crappy, so that's a little bit of a put off for me, but definitely invested in this guy for the long term as well. XDC is one that I only recently invested in a couple of weeks ago. I'm going to start buying this. Matter of fact, this one wouldn't surprise me if it'd be top 4 or top 5 one day, okay? So I'm just waiting for the price to come down, at least below when I initially bought that first $750 or 25,000 tokens. And last, XRP. Now, I only bought XRP recently just to kind of expose myself to the potential pump. I am a big fan of XRP. I definitely have my concerns with it, just like any other project, but I think that it is one to hold for the long term, and ultimately I'm happy putting in $500 just to speculate on this pump. If it doesn't pump, who cares? I'm going to end up buying this project anyway. Look, it was a long time coming. I know a lot of you guys have been waiting for this video since my birthday, April 20th, and finally I was like, you know what, I need to do it ASAP. It's been long overdue. So yes, these are the projects, at least my top holdings, at least about $500. And so as you'll notice, I mean, I'm not some multi-millionaire, I haven't got hundreds of thousands of dollars in some of these projects like I'm sure some of you have, but I do think what I do hold is some of the best in the space. And ultimately, if something were to happen in 2025, as you should all know, my thesis is if I were to pass away or, I was to be hospitalized for a year and miss the whole bull run, well, I'm happy to come back in 2030 because I expect these projects to do even better at that time, okay? So yes, not the most diverse, but I don't like gaming as much. I don't like NFT projects as much. Metaverse, as I said, I'm not really exposed to other than Multiverse X. So for me, it's real utility tokens. It's tokens that are like fully interoperable, that are actually really doing and solving solutions, problems within the space, okay? So with that being said, thank you again for watching this video. I really appreciate every single one of you. Let me know below if you agree with some of the projects. If you don't, happy to answer all the questions as well. All right, guys, take good care of yourselves. Talk soon.